Hey friends, my name is Jackson and welcome back to my channel. This looks really weird. I swear I turned my light on, but like when I put my hand back here it's like in the shadows. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad, but the gradient is kind of weird. Oh, I mean, you guys can't see my face anyway. You know what? Never mind. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm gonna read some Reddit stuff today. This is the March break special. Technically, yesterday's was supposed to be the March break special, but I just made a best of Reddit updates because, I mean, that's the only subreddit that I read stuff from. So, I'm gonna be reading stuff from like a bunch of different subreddits today. I do have some best of Reddit update stories, but God, I have so many of those saved. I'm gonna have to do like 20 videos to even scratch the surface of like how many posts I have saved. And I'm constantly saving new posts, so I'm gonna have to do like so many videos. Anyway, the first post is from r/Breaking Bad when Gomez did a canine sweep of the laundromat. So this is something I searched up because I thought of it. I was watching Breaking Bad again over the last couple weeks, and today I saw the um the episode where the dogs did the sweep of the laundromat, and I'm wondering how they didn't smell the meth lab. So I kind of searched it up, so this one is one of those. Something that bothers me is when Steve Gomez and his partner did a drug dog sweep of the laundromat. How could they have missed the elevator doors? Remember, there was an elevator that was used in several scenes. Gomi was all over that place. How could he have missed a giant elevator? And then the comments. Wasn't that hidden behind a huge washer? Yeah, I thought it was back at the huge washer that they took an I thought it was at the back of the huge washer that they took an extra look at. It wasn't obvious when viewed from the front like Gomez did. I'm not talking about the stairwell that was hidden under the machine that lifted up. I'm talking about a big ass elevator. Yeah, it was down the stairwell. It was the stairwell down to a platform that had the entrance to the elevator. The elevator was completely hidden from view. It was a freight elevator that we never saw the entrance to. If I recall, the dogs did sniff behind it especially much, but without knowing that there was a secret door elevator behind that specific machine, there was no way of knowing there was a secret door behind it. There was a door entrance and an elevator entrance in the lab. I suspect the elevator didn't have a normal button to go to the lab, and Gomi was there to sniff laundry, which means he wouldn't be using the service elevator. But the laundromat was a single story facility. If he saw the entrance to an elevator, it should have raised suspicion. I expect that the elevator was hidden somehow. Not sure if it was single story, there could be an upstairs for storage. Maybe it wasn't an elevator, but a turbo lift who other entrance was at Los Pollos Hermanos. And then someone says, I didn't notice it because the cancer magically disappear bullshit plot was on my mind the whole time watching the series. And this guy has -4 down votes. And then someone replies to that, right, because nobody ever goes into a mission. I know, that's my point, right? Ah, hang on. Alright. I'm gonna actually look um on the page where I searched this up to see if there was anything else about it because I was literally looking for the I was looking for specifically why the dogs didn't smell the meth lab in Breaking Bad, so there's like a lot of stuff. Okay, hang on. Someone posted about this on their blog. So, look, I know it's been done for nearly 10 years, but I am just getting around to seeing Breaking Bad. In my defense, I'm only 7, which is some sort of joke that I don't get because obviously, how would a 7-year-old be writing this blog or watching Breaking Bad? Anyway, yesterday I saw something that really cheesed me off, and I need to vent about it. Spoiler warning for season 4 of Breaking Bad. And this is a blog about dogs. I'm not going to give the name because I don't know about, like, what the deal is with privacy and stuff. Spoiler warning for season 4 of Breaking Bad. Okay, I just have to say the drug sniffing DEA dog that couldn't smell a giant meth lab under the laundry is the biggest slap in the face to dogs since John Wick. What do you mean, John Wick? I I don't really know that movie, but isn't the point that John Wick, like, kills a bunch of guys to avenge his dog or something? I mean, I'm no DEA dog, but I can tell store brand shampoo from Head and Shoulders a quarter mile away. There was no way that dog didn't smell 1,000 pounds of crystal meth right under his paws, unless he was getting chicken scraps under the table from Gus Fring, but that's a totally different fan theory. What? I'm sorry, Vince Gillian, but I'm about to rage quit your show like it was I Am Legend. And just when Mike's story was getting interesting too, you should be ashamed. And then the blog name out, bitch. Okay, well, yeah, I'm really not sure. I'm just confused. Hang on, there's another thing here. Head scratchers, Breaking Bad. Hang on, I'm trying to find where. Hmm. Yeah, there's like no. I'm really confused. Okay. There's like no way that. It's just super weird to me. How would the dogs not smell the meth lab? There's no way. Yeah, I don't. Okay. Yeah, there seems to be nothing about it here either. I just don't understand. I'm really confusing. Wait. A fly and then cooking in bug infested houses. A whole episode revolves around Walt's inability to cook with a fly in the room, contaminating the process. And keep in mind, I'm away from Reddit now. I'm just like searching some other stuff. So this might not be a completely Reddit video, but I'm still calling it Jackson Reads Reddit because it's just easier, honestly. A whole episode revolves around Walt's inability to cook with a fly in the room, contaminating the process. But in season 5A, he and Jesse start cooking in houses undergoing pest control. That is, buildings that will be filled with insects, and this was Walt's idea. How does that work? The portable lab is more like a little plastic tent area surrounded, separated from the rest of the house by its walls. Presumably, Walt made sure the tent area was immaculate even if the rest of the house was bug infested. And as far as I can remember, it was in the middle of the main living room, that is, away from your typical major infestation hotspots like walls, corners, and the kitchen. Walt never did genuinely care about contamination. Whenever Walt feels pressured and out of control, he copes by focusing on small practical problems, usually problems that absolutely nobody cares about but him. Remember that scene after Hank gets shot, where Walt fixes that wobbly table leg in the hospital waiting room? Walt gets his sense of self worth from solving problems. The events of Fly were essentially Walt grasping at something to make him feel in control. I did not know that. That's really interesting. And again, for what it's worth, I think the whole bug extermination thing was just a cover up from day one. It's never made clear if the houses Walt and Jesse cook in are genuinely infested, or if the pest control firm is ripping people off. And even if it was a pest infested home, the Vamonos pest guys just draw the whole operation out. They tell the homeowners that the process takes a full week, when in reality, their house is bug free in 3 days. The other 4 days, it's free for Walt and Jesse to cook in. A very strong sign that the pest control measures aren't actually taking place when Jesse and Walter are in there is that they're freely roaming the house, which is supposedly filled with bug poison. Either the gas has already evaporated or was never pumped in to begin with, or they wouldn't just sit inside on the couch, sipping beers and watching TV. Unlikely. The company would have to do actual pest control in order to keep getting hired and not attract police attention. We know the houses really are infested. There's a nice shot of a roach crawling around in the foreground at one point. They probably spray for bugs once the cook is over. Uh, cooking cooking in bugs in bug infested houses continued. Isn't the choice to cook in bug infested houses a bit out of character for Walt? There's always that risk factor. What if the owners come back early due to something they forgot or some emergency? And on the first house that Walt and Jesse cook in, Todd said he disabled a nanny cam in that one house. I'm not sure it matches Walt's character to think it was such a great idea, as it will require always going into a new unpredictable environment for each cooking session. I'd have stuck with the RV. I have to say, you're right. Like, what if whoever posed this theory is correct? What if Jesse and Walt like get caught? What if they don't know that there's a nanny cam in the next house? Like, yeah, Todd disabled that one nanny cam in that one house, but that doesn't mean that he's always going to be able to find the nanny cams unless he has like a way to suss them out. Like, I don't know. Anyway, it's not out of character at all. The risk factor was actually very low. The owners coming back early by surprise is unlikely, given that they have to hand over their keys to the extermination people, and or would more than likely call first to make sure it was safe to go inside. After all, would you just go strolling into your house like that in the process of it being bombed? No. No, I would not. I don't think so. And let's say by some small chance the owners did barge in on them and catch them in the act. Most middle to upper class suburbanites wouldn't know what meth cooking looks or smells like. Walt and Jesse could have just made up a story about mixing the chemicals for the bug gas or something, and say it's really not safe for them to be in there and hurry and usher them out, and no one would be the wiser. The RV was a dead issue, it was destroyed, and the police were hip to the RV game, and the RV wouldn't have been big enough to accommodate their larger demands of product that we needed. It took them a week to cook 40 pounds in the RV. With the houses, they get 50 pounds in one cook. That's true. There's like a lot going on here. I'm just gonna check out a few of the juicier ones that I'm more interested in. Why Flynn? What is with Walter Jr.'s choice of the name Flynn? It might not have any specific meaning, but the fact that the name is heavily associated with Errol Flynn, the legendary swashbuckling badass and lady killer, makes it evoke the kind of image that a teenage boy would like to assume. Isn't it his middle name? I think he's just using it symbolically to show that that his identity is independent of his father and family. He's not going to make up an entirely new name, so Flynn it is. That's why I have two middle names because I love them both, and if I want to go by either of them, they're already legally on my certificate of like birth or whatever, not on my birth certificate, I guess, on my whatever certificate they gave me, the new birth certificate or whatever. But like, that's why I have two middle names because might want to change to either of them at any time, and this way I can do that without like having a whole new name and having to explain to people, and I can just be like, oh, I go by my middle name, and then that's a simple explanation. So I go by one of my middle names now. I just decided to change it, and that way I can just decide to change it overnight. And the ones that I chose were two of my favorites. My two favorites. Well, one my mom suggested, but I really fell in love with it, but not enough to make it my first name, at least not for right now. So I decided to make it my middle name, one of my middle names. Anyway, but like I do not agree with naming your child after the mother or father. Like, no, your child needs to have their own identity, and that's a lot of fucking pressure for your kid, depending on like who you are. Like, yeah, it's a lot of pressure on your kid to live up to like their mother or father, and now they have their mom or dad's name, so they got to deal with that, and they don't get to have their own identity because they're always tied back to their parent by their name, and I just don't agree with it like a lot. I don't think it's okay, and I heavily disagree with that. I assumed his middle name was Hartwell, like his father's. A friend of mine whose name is William and whose dad's name is William says he is not Junior because they have different middle names. According to the show's wiki, his middle name is Hartwell. Okay, hang on. Whatever happened to the Jesse Mouse? Sorry, what Jesse Mouse? I'm confused. Despite the narrative implying otherwise, isn't Jesse still completely screwed? The cops are after him. They're sure to be watching his house. He has no money. He's homeless. The tape of Jesse confessing all the things he did is still probably in the clubhouse the cops are sure to search. And to top it off, the last time an innocent was indirectly killed because of him, Jesse pretty much broke down. Is he likely to do any better with Andrea dead? How could things possibly go well for him? Oh, by the way, Breaking Bad spoilers in this video in case you didn't already know. Whatever happened to the Jesse Mouse? I just don't understand what the Jesse Mouse is. Whatever. Anyway, it's not supposed to be a happy ending. Jesse has done terrible things and hasn't earned one. What he gets instead is the chance at a happy ending. One could also argue that Jesse is presumed dead. He has been missing for several months, and the last living person to see him is Marie, who probably assumes that he died along with Hank and Gomez. As for the tape, it's likely Jack's gang destroyed it to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. That would imply they are intelligent, rational people, which they are not. When they watch that video, they laugh at the fact that Jesse was crying throughout it all, and then they talk about how Todd was implicated. They also talked about how they have more money than needed without any word about how they are going to spend it, since the IRS would track them down as in an instant if they spent one dime, getting arrested for undeclared revenue. They are not nice people, to put it mildly, but I don't think they're entirely stupid. After Jack saw Jesse on the tape, flat out saying his nephew Todd Alquist killed the kid, Jack immediately marches to Jesse's cage, intending to kill him. He is once again talked out of it by Todd. Most likely, they destroyed the incriminating tape soon after. As for them joking about Jesse crying, that was a bit of a meta joke in that Jesse does spend quite a lot of time in the series crying. I mean, can you blame him with every fucking thing that's happened? Ugh. It would look terrible if Jesse was publicly prosecuted after he spent the last 4 months in a neo-Nazi dungeon, especially if he said he got coerced into working with Hank and Gomez. He might be able to get a settlement and even therapy, since the media would be more likely to portray him as a victim at this point. Pretty much what would happen, yeah, considering that when the police enter the compound, they are going to find all the evidence that Jesse was being kept captive there. The pit, his chains, that will have blood from Jesse killing Todd and Todd's DNA, the gun that Todd used to kill Andrea, assuming he didn't dispose of it, the crapper bucket, Jesse's DNA all over the pit, all of it giving Jesse a good argument for self-defense if anything is found to time to the scene. He also will have a good argument against the DEA if he had to, since Hank put Jesse at risk by taking him to the money spot, leading to Jesse's capture by Jack, his slavery, and the death of Andrea. Given Hank's previous attack on Jesse and his putting a witness at risk, that might be another reason the cops wouldn't want to prosecute Jesse. They'll also undoubtedly find the guns that killed Hank and Gomez, given that their bodies will have been found by the time the compound is processed. Marie could also testify that Jesse was working with Hank at that time, making him an informant. Jesse would probably walk simply because he suffered so much, because Hank didn't want to call in the full DEA to catch Walt, simply because he didn't want to commit clear suicide by admitting Walt hid under his nose for so long. Keeping him out of the official informant process was illegal, if I remember correctly. Also, Badger and Skinny Pete are still out there. They'd pretty much consider Jesse a hero, so they'd definitely help him, which basically is confirmed in the movie later. The newspaper article props from Granite State make it clear that the police knew about Jesse's involvement with Heisenberg. Here's an IMDb user's suggestion that Jesse might be able to walk on all charges. There's a lot to this case that the DEA might not want the public to know about, like how Hank kinda sorta turned rogue trying to bring down Walt, to the point that some might be led to believe that Hank technically held a witness hostage at his house, and Jesse's confession video was practically extracted from him, possibly under duress, without the right to legal consult. That's true. All of this certainly not under the accepted protocols at any law enforcement agency, plus taking that witness to a scene without backup where he would be properly prosecuted from a criminal such as Jack or Todd. Exactly. And also bringing him to wherever Walt was at the time, even though he might have been killed then too. I mean, he wasn't at the time, but like doing that was messed up too. And I did not appreciate how Hank was so willing to put Jesse in danger because, oh, well, if he dies, then we'll also know that Walt is guilty and we'll still get what we want and stuff. It's just shitty. It's just, he's an asshole. That's a shitty thing to do. Like, whatever, I know Jesse's like a criminal or whatever, but like, okay, that doesn't mean that Hank has the right to put Jesse in danger, and that was not for the greater good. Anyway, there was also Hank's behavior throughout, since Gomez was also killed as a result of this action, in addition to Hank, and we know from dialogue in season 3 that Gomez is married. What's to say his widow won't file a wrongful death lawsuit against the DEA? It would get very ugly for law enforcement, especially for the DEA. If the media takes an avid interest in what stories Jesse might have to tell them about it all, how it was a DEA agent who was responsible for the situation, that got kidnapped, tortured, and pressed into being a meth slave for the neo-Nazis. Thus, it stands to reason that the police might want to downplay Jesse's role in the Wolfshire muzzle of a cock-up Hank created for them. There will have to be some serious damage control to try and withhold as much damaging information as possible from the media, because the deeper the media digs, the uglier it all gets. In addition to this, Hank drugged Jesse while Jesse was at his house, and even told Marie about it, and Hank apprehended Jesse while Jesse had just doused Walt's house in gasoline and was about to light it on fire while standing in it. Jesse was showing signs of severe mental alteration and should have been taken to the hospital, not Hank's house. El Camino establishes that Jesse eventually made it to Alaska, where he became a carpenter and opened a wood shop. He never went to jail for his involvement in the Heisenberg case, as he would likely have never gotten out if he had. It seems likely that the tape of Jesse confessing was still around, and as Hank had promised Jesse amnesty, it would make sense for law enforcement to grant it to him as well. There's a lot happening. I'm gonna like bookmark this page just so I can come back to it just so I can come back to it later, because there's a lot I want to read about. Basically, like everything that I want to read about that's in this. Uh, there's like maybe one or two more I want to read now. How did Walt poison Brock? It happened off screen, so when would he have been able to do it, and how was he able to get close enough to Brock to get the poison to him? Vince Gilligan admits this would be tricky and might have involved putting it in his juice box. Before Vince's explanation, I was on the lookout for hints of how Walt accomplished it. At one point, I think right before Hank and Gomez's deaths, Walt, in an attempt to have a casual chat, verbally remarks to Brock about his Fruit Loop cereal, and I thought maybe it was the cereal box he tampered with. Wasn't Saul involved? He's pretty close to Andrea and Brock. Saul helped steal the rice and cigarette from Jesse, but he had no idea that Walt was going to poison Brock. Given that Brock wasn't even poisoned with ricin, I'm assuming that he didn't actually have anything to do with giving Brock the poison. Here's a detailed analysis suggesting how it most likely happened. Merge Productions suggest he poisoned a juice box, went to Brock's school, and planted the juice box in his bag. Maybe, I don't know. Let's check out the detailed analysis suggesting how it most likely happened. I'm curious. There's like a fucking lot going on here. I'm gonna have to come back to this later just because I'm curious. And there's like so much going on. There's a ton of questions that I want to know. Um, okay, here's something else from Reddit that I found. Uh, and it's marked as spoiler, so let that be your warning. So we're back to Reddit now, and just finished the show in 3 days. Can't get over this one bit. Spoilers. The secret lab under the laundromat required a secret entrance under an industrial washer to get in. Yet it must be accessible enough to move all that big lab equipment in. In the season opener box cutter, Gail was cutting a box that was at least 10 feet tall. Not to mention the show requires you to believe that they had a forklift in the facility to move the methylamine around for cooking. Um, so that means the big items needed a way in and out of that lab. So to do that, they introduced a freight elevator to a secret lab that required a hidden entrance to get into. What kind of logic is there for a secret entrance at this point? Not to mention, it was a freight elevator for a laundry site that was a single floor. So were they trying to hide the fact that they had a basement or no? Were they trying to make the entrance to the place hidden or accessible? This accessible. This plot point has bugged me so much watching this show. You would think the DEA would have spotted a big ass freight elevator when taking pictures of the place, especially since it's once again an elevator in a single floor industrial laundromat. Yet they left after taking pictures of the top floor only. Also, Walter White had the easiest time getting down there via a bell of all things to shoot the two guards before burning down the whole thing. Well, the guard in the lab didn't even have a camera to see who was ringing it before calling the elevator down to a super meth lab. Okay, yeah. Lastly, the spared no expense lab could only afford one super security camera. It had audio feed, the only one of its kind, for the entire place, and it's placed in a place where it has two blind spots, like a mofo, meant to keep track of two people working in there the whole time. I mean, seriously, they spent the same budget for the above ground laundromat as the super lab in surveillance. This super lab was a bit of a stretch, and then someone responds. And then someone responds, "This entire rant could have been avoided if you'd had just watched Better Call Saul." Well, I'm planning to. I'll revisit when I get that done. Based on watching just Breaking Bad, it's a big plot hole. And then someone says, "There's an elevator they used to take the product up after it's weighed out and counted." Obviously, you didn't read everything I typed. Sorry, I think my brain shuts down after reading more than 20 words. Then why are you replying? I don't know. Can't really answer that at the moment. I don't think I don't think it's a big plot hole. You may need a little bit of suspension of disbelief, but secret underground labs exist in real life. The unrealistic part are the high quality industrial pharmacy machines. To the camera part, you have to remember that Gus tried to intimidate Walt while at the same time getting Jesse on his side. I guess Jesse would have cared way more about fortified cameras than just one. I think the whole point of the camera was to scare Walt and to let him know that he was watched. For everything else, he already had Mike and Victor and etc. The freight elevator could look like a door from the outside, or could be hidden around or it could be hidden behind another big washing machine from all that we know. And like it has already been said, watch Better Call Saul. This will probably explain most of the questions you have. I don't think it's a big plot hole. You may need a little bit of suspension of disbelief, but secret underground labs exist in real life. The unrealistic part are the high quality industrial pharmacy machines. The issue wasn't the lab being underground. The issue was the requirement to build the entrance to the lab via a moving industrial washer, because it's a super secret doorway meant to keep people from noticing it. However, this same secret lab also has a huge freight elevator that does not even have a camera of who's in it, leading to it as well. Said elevator exists in a single-story laundromat. So the point was either the underground lab was meant to be hidden in the front of a single-story laundromat, or the lab was meant to be a converted known basement, which does not require a secret entrance. I'm having an issue when the DEA took pictures, they never entered the lab. The issue is, it's either too secret that they missed the entrance, this is what they want us to believe. But if that is so, then how about the big ass elevator? Why would the DEA only take pictures of the main floor that they know does not have a lab in it? They never shown what the elevator situation looks like in the show from the top floor, nor did any shots show anything other than a single story laundromat in the entire show. I mean, if Hank saw two power panels as being suspicious, wouldn't a big ass freight elevator in a single floor building be even more suspicious? The issue with the camera was, it wasn't there for psychological warfare. There were many shots where they show Gus actually doing nothing but watching them. Not to mention, Gus wanted to make sure Walt wasn't influencing Jesse while he was setting up his plan for Jesse. However, he left a bunch of blind spots where the two were alone. The guards didn't show up until after the camera was set. There were days in which they were in there without guards with the camera already up and running. It was used as a plot for the whole magnet fiasco when they had to destroy the laptop and evidence containment. It was a serious attempt at surveillance done in the most half-assed way possible for someone with infinite budget. I mean, they literally spent as much for the front door of the laundromat as they did a super secret meth lab. Walt thought the place was bugged before they even had a camera, so he was already paranoid as it was. So it was a bit redundant for the camera to do to do what was already done plot wise. No one ever said there were no other cameras in the secret lab and in the washing facility as a whole. If I remember correctly, there is a scene where Gus is watching his laptop, and there are multiple camera views and not just one. There could be many more cameras that just did not get mentioned. Whatever you want, as said here before, just watch Better Call Saul. If you still are not satisfied, I don't want to spoil it for you, but exactly the questions you ask here are answered there. In my opinion, it's a little funny that from all the things that are unrealistic in the show, you choose this. There is so much unlogical stuff and actual plot holes. It's a show after all, and it is one of the best. I don't think you can find a series where there's none of that stuff. It just happens because if shows were 100% realistic, they would be boring as fuck. So if having just one camera in the lab means I have to spend less time watching Gus manage his surveillance and get more time watching badass dialogue between him and Walt, I know what I choose. But this is a pure subjective thing for everyone. Have you seen Narcos? Because I watched that first, and Narcos to me was as good as the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones. We won't talk about 6 through 8 though. Why? What's wrong with them? If GOT 1 through 5 was a 10, Narcos to me was 10.5 all the way through. Breaking Bad is like an 8.5. There was never a dull moment in Narcos, and even though I knew the backstories, the show was still very fun to watch. Even with the real life spoilers already revealed years ago, I never once felt spoiled in the show. Though it's easier to make a show based on real life events, but they fill the gaps in between the known stuff really well. Breaking Bad being completely fiction is good, but the foreshadowing is nowhere near as good as Game of Thrones, and the poetry that is in the writing based off GRRM material was second to none. That show could drag a conversation on for 3 episodes, it seemed at times, but you never ended an episode never wanting to watch the next. Breaking Bad, I think, held its quality throughout all 5 seasons, which was a treat. The acting was excellent, but I still can't get over how some characters behave. Skyler's back and forth attitude, Walt's flip of a switch to go from high school teacher to Satan, Jesse just putting up with the countless threats from a so-called partner when he really could have just been on his own, especially after Combo died, Hank's absolute disregard for confidential information on ongoing cases, Gus's over-forgiving mob boss styling. Saul and Mike really carried the show for me. I'm glad they're in Better Call Saul because it's basically extracting what I loved about Breaking Bad and extending it. I'm on episode 8 right now, and I hope you're writing and explaining things because I'm all ears. And then someone else replies, you should and then someone else comments on the post, you should literally just watch BCS, Better Call Saul. I am doing that. I'm on season 2 already. Well, that's perfect then. Okay, there's a lot of shit going on. Anyway, I will say, I dislike how some of the characters act too. But Jesse, I want to remind you that Jesse is blackmailed into cooking meth. And yeah, he puts up with a lot of shit from Walt, and I don't really know why that is. I think maybe deep down he cares about him. Deep down, I think Walt cares about Jesse too, in his own messed up way, but it kind of gets screwier and screwier as the show goes on, and he treats him like garbage and stuff. Regardless, Skylar. I'm also just gonna say Walt didn't have a flip of a switch. I think it wasn't about Walt becoming a villain. It was about Walt becoming who he already was, fueled by hatred and spite that everyone was doing better stuff than he was, and he just wanted to do something, I don't know, great or whatever. But Walt has always been Heisenberg. I made a post about it a while back. Walt has always been Heisenberg, and he was literally just growing into who he was supposed to be, to who he was, like, the entire time. Even before he started cooking meth. This is who he was, and this is who he will be. Like, and and there's a scene in the show where Skylar said, "I didn't marry a criminal," and then the lawyer says, "You're married to one now," and the fact is she's always been married to a criminal. He just hasn't done any criminal activity, at least not yet. But yeah, and also Skylar is a fucking idiot. I'm gonna say that now because I'm just putting my phone down for a second. But Skylar is an idiot. I'm just gonna say that because Walter's an idiot too, but he just wanted. But the reason why he's an idiot is different. He's an idiot because who would rather cook meth than, like, take the help from friends and family, but he refuses, but that's not why he actually refused. It's not because he is it's not because he didn't want to take the help or whatever. It's because he wanted to cook meth, and this was an excuse to do it. And then there's a scene later on in the show where, when he finds out he's getting better and he's in remission, he punches the paper towel machine in the bathroom, like the paper towel dispenser. He does that because now he doesn't have an excuse to cook meth anymore because he's getting better and he's not going to be sick anymore. So he can't use that as an excuse to cook meth anymore. That's my take on it anyway. People have so many, like, fan theories about Breaking Bad. I might actually delve deeper into the Breaking Bad subreddit, but I want to say Skylar is a fucking idiot because, first of all, Walt's gonna get caught at some point anyway. We all know this. Eventually he does, and the truth comes out to the kids and everyone, and then he attacks Skylar or Skylar attacks him with a fucking knife. And anyway, whatever, it's fucking nuts. But, like, but Skylar is stupid because Walt's gonna get caught anyway. And secondly, she, like, dives into the two things. First of all, why would she refuse? Because why would she refuse to take her family out of danger if it means that her son is going to find out that his dad is dealing drugs? Because why, like, I don't know, would you rather your kids find out that their dad is dealing drugs, which again they're gonna find out anyway because he's gonna get caught eventually, or would you rather them be in constant danger from the fact that your husband is cooking drugs? Because here's the thing, if she tells the truth, the family is safe. Her and the kids, at least. And Hank and Marie and everyone, because everyone can take steps to protect themselves and the family. But no, she just doesn't want the kids to find out, so instead she lets them get put in all sorts of danger. And fuck that. But secondly, because she's an accessory after the fact at this point. Like, so she's gonna go down too whenever Walt gets caught. Regardless. Anyway, it's just Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Um, anyway, I am going to, um, okay. We have something else here, also from the Breaking Bad subreddit. Hank, good or bad? I see Hank I see Hank is entirely or mostly good. Odd- Oddly, I see people argue that he is also good and bad. Other than him being human, how is he bad? He is a bit of both for me, hardly the moral compass of the show. But it says something that when he beat up Jesse, he was willing to tell the truth and lose his career over it. He beat up Jesse because he thought he did the prank call about his wife. Funny thing about being a cop, it is legal to do that. If Jesse had pressed charges, Hank justify would have quite justifiably been fired. I was always crossed between empathizing and vilifying him for that. The human brain is wild. Oh, don't get me wrong, I did it. I would be a terrible cop. If someone pranked me like that, I would want to end them. Me too, but I wouldn't actually do it. I have respect for the Hank character. He's one of my favorites. He refused to lie to save his career, and he went out like a badass with a warrior's death. A lot of issues with law enforcement these days stems from lack of accountability. Hank puts all the facts out there and is willing to take whatever is coming to him. I also think we can all agree that using his wife like that is way more personal than a lot of these real life incidents. I mean, yeah, definitely. And then someone said, "Who did you think was the moral compass of the show?" All right. Um, for the moral compass of the show. Honestly, this child. Okay, anyway, like many of the Breaking Bad characters, Hank is both. He's a violent, rage filled ass, and he also loves his nephew and wants good things for his family, including Walt. A violent, rage filled ass? No, he's not. I think you're forgetting his illegal assault of Jesse. Yes, that was wrong, but he was manipulated into thinking his wife was killed, basically, and he did take full ownership of his mistake. That was a crime of passion, not illegal. I don't. Who the fuck is this person? I'm sorry. This person is fucking nuts. It's not illegal to beat the hell out of someone just because they like did just because they gave you a bad phone call. Like, okay, yeah, it was absolutely shitty what Walt did, and obviously he was gonna think Jesse did it because he was interrogating Jesse or whatever. He didn't even know Walt was in the RV, but like, no, if you beat someone up, then you're gonna go to jail. That's just what happens. And yes, it's fucking illegal. Y'all are idiots. I don't know what's going on. And then someone comments, found the cop. Bro, what? He showed up to his house unannounced without a warrant and beat the fuck out of him. Are you going to finish the sentence or just cherry pick why Hank showed up? Okay, fine, I'll do it for you. Beat the fuck out of him because he thought Jesse did a prank call of his wife being in the hospital. Nothing wrong with that. Uh, I guess if you think there's nothing wrong with that, have fun in prison because what the fuck? Yeah, that's not a valid legal defense. He 100% would have been found guilty or had to plea out if Jesse had pressed charges. Luckily Jesse dropped the charges, but anyway. Doo-doo. That's not how the law works. You may need to call Saul in the future, and then the person responds, "Okay." Looks like, and then the another person says, "Looks like you can't respond to what was said." Yeah, exactly. Jeez, are you under the impression that a crime of passion is somehow not a crime? You literally called it a crime. It's not any less illegal. You don't say crime of passion, Your Honor, and the judge sends you home with a pat on the head. Your personal opinion on whether it's justified has nothing to do with whether it was illegal. It is very much against the law, which again does not make an exception because he had something to be mad about. There you go, exactly. There are no exceptions, except for, fucking celebrities and whatnot, I guess. Read what you're saying and reconsider the merit of, like, any thought you've ever had. Okay, people are dumb. And then someone else says, I mean, yeah, the way he was treating Marie at times was kind of fucked up. There were so many characters worse than him, but he's definitely not a saint. Also, he's a racist. Yeah, kinda, basically. He only treated her badly once in the show, and that's when he had to be treated like a baby, which any normal adult would be sour over. He's not racist. He says racist things that have no bearing on his treatment towards minorities in the show. Can you show instances where he says racist things to Gus or Tuco or the janitor? I'll sit here and wait. So, if you don't say racist things to people, but you say racist things about people, I guess you're not a racist if you say racist things, but I guess as long as you're not saying it to people, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with this one commenter? And it's the same commenter who's defending Hank for not okay, I'm done. I am moving on, and then someone says you're really good at trolling. Why do Redditors like you have an obsession of turning off every discussion and ultimately making everything about nihilism? What happened to you growing up? Genuinely asking. I don't know what the fuck is going on in this comment section anymore. I am. There's other stuff I want to explore. Hang on. I have other. Hang on, there's other stuff. Um. What is this? Okay. Dude, when I watched Breaking Bad, I mostly liked Hank. He was cocky and all, but he wasn't that bad compared to the rest. He was funny at times. He tried to be charming and also had the coolest fight scene with the twins and fucking killed them too. So I really liked him, and morally, he was way better than the majority of Breaking Bad characters. When I finished the show and found out subreddits like this is when I found out that people actually hate Hank. I was very confused and still am. Please give me good arguments as to why anyone thinks he is bad. He throws everything away for the pride of catching Walt. If he'd have called Walt in, then he wouldn't have been killed. Exactly. He didn't call the cavalry in on Walt because he'd have been fired. His former boss was fired for being friends with Gus and not knowing his true intentions. He manipulated Jesse into bringing down Walt and said himself he doesn't care if Jesse dies in the middle of bringing Walt in as long as he got him. He's not as bad as Walt, but people only want to talk about Walt's ego and not Hank's. Why didn't Walt take Elliot's money? Why didn't Hank call the police on Walt after the garage scene reveal? Both were pride. Yeah, and then there was that whole, it's like season 2-ish, season 3-ish thing after Hank, like, gets hurt and is paralyzed temporarily, and then he slowly regains the use of his legs or whatever. He treats Marie like utter shit. Like, okay, fine, you're upset, but that doesn't give you a valid excuse to just treat your wife like garbage. And as much as I dislike Marie and think she's just a whining bitch, like, which I do, as much as I don't like her, she doesn't deserve to be treated like that. Yeah, this right here is what convinces me of Hank's true nature. He knew and could have told anyone, but he decided and could have told everyone, but he decided he wanted to do it himself, and that arrogance got a lot more people killed. Okay. And then someone says valid. Blah blah blah. He treats Mary like shit and expresses that he doesn't care if Jesse dies if it means Walt gets caught. Combine that with the casual racism instilled in him and his anger issues, and you've got a guy I would rather not hang out with. Exactly. The name is Asexuator, Trader, and you can go fuck yourself. Hank is a good person does does some bad things to get the outcome he wants. He justifies the shortcuts because of the outcome. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Remember that scene when Hank was looking for the specific RV that Jesse cooked meth on? He went sneaking around a suspect and found that old couple playing strip poker. Then he ran away and kept looking illegally without support from the DEA. Is that what you want? Police officers trespassing your house, looking around your shit for any hunch of illegal activity? Fuck off, bootlicker. I'm pretty sure that was in response to someone else. Oh, that was in response to the same guy who's been defending Hank this whole freaking time. Hang on. Sorry, there's a little. Hmm. Sorry, I just posted pictures. Um. Anyway, I will post pictures in the community post, but someone responded to my post on Facebook. I have this I have you know how the baby snails have been growing? I found a couple that were bigger, and I did see one that was bigger today, and I separated it from the others because he's growing faster, so I wanted to make sure he was properly taken care of. So I separated him from the siblings, and I put him in like his own little enclosure. It's a pretty small enclosure. It's probably about like this big. Like, you guys can't see me. Never mind. It's pretty small, and I put him in there with some eggshells for calcium because I couldn't fit any Cuttlebone in there. But he has eggshells for some calcium, and I had put a little dish of zucchini in there, which he's eaten. I can see they're teeny tiny, but I can see where he's nibbled on the zucchini, and I also saw him just hanging out in the zucchini dish. So I assume he's eating the zucchini and he's like munching away. And then when he moved from the spot where he was, I could see the tiny little nibbles where he did eat the zucchini. So he has been eating it. I'll show the pictures that I took of him on my community page. I named him Edwin. He's so cute. And if I find any bigger snails, I'm gonna try and separate them from the rest too and put them in like separate enclosures. But regardless, I need to take a break. I gotta eat something, so I'll be right back. I'll be back later. Hey friends, I'm back. I do want to say that Nathan told me to take down all my videos regarding the issues with the landlord if I do go down the legal route. So if I decide to do that, I'll take all the videos down, I'll download them, and then I'll like re-upload them later like I did before with my other videos. It won't be a problem, but they might be down for a while. I'm still gonna go ahead and upload this video just because I want to get the March break special out, but if I have to take it all down, I will. Right now, my priority is trying to find another apartment, whether that's through subsidized housing. But I also found some places online that I am going to talk to my mom about if we can look at, or maybe we can contact the real estate agent who got me this apartment and see if he can find us anything good, like, I don't know, something closer to my mom. So the apartments that I found are in Brampton, but even if I have to move farther away, it'll be a super temporary solution until I eventually move into subsidized housing in probably 5 or 6 months at the most. I can't tell if someone's actually knocking on my door. I don't think they are. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep doing my video and I'm gonna upload it, and then if I have to take it down later, I will. But just know if I take my videos down, I will be re-uploading them eventually, just when all the legal stuff is settled. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna continue this Reddit video. So hang on a second. I am going to. Okay, well, hang on. I'm just trying to get to home right now so I can go to my saved posts. Okay. So I was all up in the Breaking Bad subreddit in my last video, and I saved some more stories, and this first one is from r/today I fucked up. Today I fucked up by giving a stranger a laptop. By giving a stranger my laptop. I gave this homeless dude my old laptop today outside of 7-Eleven. I bought this half-decent HP 430G4 for $100 a month ago. By the way, I was able to get like $50 for my old laptop, so that's going in my savings account for my snake. Um, Nothing special, but good for basic IT work while I'm doing some night classes on the subject. Chucked 32 gigabytes of RAM in it. Unfortunately, it had the virtualization hardware disabled and a factory BIOS password I couldn't figure out, and it doesn't use a CMOS battery, so the process of getting around it requires disassembling the computer and then desoldering the fucking hardware security chip off it so you can manually reprogram it. It's a lot of work for an 8-year-old laptop with an i3 7100U. Total work, got a sick replacement laptop, nice X360 with full clamshell touchscreen. I do not understand anything about that what I just read. I don't understand it. I don't know anything about computers. Anyway, I was driving home with both laptops stuffed into the same laptop bag. I'm wondering what to do with the laptop. It's not really worth selling, so I decided I'll give it away. I also decided that I may as well not bother wiping it, just to have some fun. In the month or so that I'd had it, I'd set the background to be a slideshow of cursed computer images and set the default browser to be Firefox using the Helmo theme, meaning the top bar has animated flames and an image of Elmo with his hands raised on the far right. So Elmo was burning in hell, basically. I pulled into a 7-Eleven to grab a sausage roll on the way home, had to fill me up kangaroo and make sure me boomerangs were still tied down the back, of course. What the fuck am I reading? Is this English? Out the front was this old homeless looking bloke, was kind of skittishly dancing around in a daze, pushing a shopping cart with some groceries and a rather cute looking dog in it. I asked him if he'd like a free computer. He said he didn't even have a phone, and he wasn't sure how he could power it. I said he could use it for free at libraries and places like the McDonald's across the road, and he acknowledged that. So I impulsively gave ye old 430G4 to a homeless old bloke outside of 7-Eleven because he had a cute dog. Said he didn't even have a phone. Hope it helps him out. Honestly, I don't even care if he sells it for drugs as long as his dealer finds some use out of it. I drove off and started laughing about the whole situation, knowing that absolutely no one is going to believe this bloke when he says that a random stranger gave him a laptop outside of a 7-Eleven, laughing crying emoji. And then about 5 minutes later, it hit me. I done fucked up. All my apps and services were still signed into that crappy laptop I just handed over, including my Google account, my Proton Mail account, my Steam, my Discord, and most importantly, my fucking password manager with my banking login, a payment card, and about 80 other logins saved in it. Needless to say, I started removing that device from every service I could remember signing into it with as soon as I got home. Too long didn't read. We don't need that. When you said that both laptops are stuffed into the same bag, I assumed this post was going to go a very different way. I guess the silver lining is that you didn't accidentally give him your work computer and have to turn around and take it back from him. I'm sorry, but you are going into IT and you did this. You're not going to make it long in that field, and you might want to start considering what is next. Wait, for real? If you ever discard a computer, take your disk out and destroy it. Drill, hammer, fire, up to you. Assume encryption will be broken and all of your data is now compromised. You want to race against identity theft at this point. I don't know, I kind of hope maybe he's just a nice guy and he won't do anything like that. Maybe he'll buy you a nice thank you gift from your Amazon. Well, that's one way to make a new friend. Not gonna lie, this plays off like a kind thing to do, but it's actually pretty despicable of you. Basically, treating another person as a disposal, where you expressed you don't care about the outcome. You know when a friend gives you half their meal, but really they just didn't want to throw it out themselves. Yeah, that's not kindness. Wait, what the fuck? That's no. What? Wait, it's just okay. I think that's ridiculous, but like, someone received a good gift. There's a deleted comment that has minus 17 upvotes. Let's read the responses. What's heavier on Mars, a kilogram of feathers, or what is on the moon, a pound of iron? Well, that sounds like quite the chat GPT response. Jesus Christ, of course there's LLM bots on Reddit now. I have no idea what LLM is, and honestly, I don't feel like looking into it right now. Okay, today I fucked up by going to a concert with a longtime friend. We actually spent the whole day together after not seeing each other for a while since we live far away from each other now. We went to the mall, got beers, and then went to the show. The context that's now needed is that I've loved this girl since the 10th grade, and unfortunately, she's never reciprocated those feelings. But of course, we stayed friends, and as I got a bit older and graduated college, I tried to tell myself I was just a dramatic high schooler in love for the first time. But years later, after really connecting for the first time in a while throughout the day, I knew I was lying to myself. The band we saw I knew was one that she introduced to me by showing me what I considered to be their very best song. I had been hoping it so badly that they'd play it. And right at the end of the set, they did, and even though it was the moment I'd been waiting for the most, all I could do was look over at this girl that I realized I am still very much in love with. All I could think about was putting my arm around her shoulder and her head resting on mine. I felt so incredibly strongly about it that it made me short of breath. When I dropped her off afterwards at her friend's house, I kept on thinking how I wanted to give it another shot and tell her that the only reason I like that one song so much is that because of every time I listen to it, it makes me think of her. But instead I just said goodbye. It felt pointless to try because I know she still feels the same way as before, and if I were to make a move, it would just complicate things all over again. But yeah, now I can barely bring myself to listen to my favorite song anymore, and that drive home was the worst drive I've ever had to make. Look, man, first off, if you're sure about this and think there might be a chance, then test those waters. If you're sure she isn't interested, though, then you need to figure out how to move on. You deserve to be loved just as much as she does, and if she doesn't reciprocate your feelings, then she isn't enough for you. I also just want to throw in that I was in a situation once where I was absolutely infatuated with this one girl, so I told her, and she told me she didn't see me the same way. I said okay, and we parted ways. Still friends to this day, though. In retrospect, I realized that I hadn't even hung out with her or talked to her enough to be as in love with her as I thought I was. I had fallen in love with this idea of her that I wanted her to be in my head that wasn't fair to her or to me. I'm not saying you're definitely in the same situation, just that it might be a good idea to take a minute and really think through your feelings before doing something drastic. And then someone else says, I think I've got this one beat. I actually did get to spend a ton of time with this one girl whom I was infatuated with, but we were just friends. I never got the chance to test those waters because the night I was planning to make my move, she died in an auto wreck on her way home. What? She died in an auto wreck on her way home. It fucked me up for over a decade. I eventually figured out how to move on and got a late start on a real relationship in my 30s after nothing but failure as an alcoholic human, comparing every woman I met to the one who died on a pedestal. Life isn't perfect, but it got better once I got over her. It shouldn't be a competition, but my god, you win. That's horrible. That would absolutely crush me. And then someone else says, you really, really need to tell her how you feel, and not some heartfelt confession. Just a simple, I really enjoyed the concert and hanging out with you. Want to meet up for dinner this weekend? See, let's make it a date. See how she reacts. Have you complimented on Have you complimented her on her looks ever? How did she react? Definitely do that on the date. On the other hand, has she ever said things like, you're like a brother to me, or I'm so glad I have a friend like you? The first is definitely a clear sign she doesn't think of you as a romantic partner. The second is a little less definitive, but also leaning that way. Source: I've been married to a very close friend since high school. We talked about it and tried it, and she's my best friend, my lover, and my partner. Ugh. I also had a longtime friend from high school that I had a crush on for years. About 5 years after graduation, we spent some time together, and all those old feelings came up again. I was getting ready to tell her when she emailed me saying she had those feelings too. We gave it a shot. We've been married for 20 years. Email? We've been married for 20 years. Ah, that checks out. LOL, you need to check your timeline. Has been a thing for way over 20 years now that we're in 2024. Pretty sure they're not talking about the email's existence, but the fact that nowadays most people use text messages or social media to reveal their feelings. Here's what's going to happen. One, you take your shot and she accepts, and the relationship either works out or does not, but you find out together. Two, you take your shot, she declines, and after some time passes, you move on. Three, you never take your shot. Maybe you kept looking for that perfect moment or exactly the right words, or just can't figure out how to try. You go on feeling like this. Put it this way, OP. At some point, she will meet someone and the relationship will work. If that someone isn't you and you never even told her how you feel, how will that make you feel? All right, I'm hoping I'm gonna see this story on Best of Rare updates at some point. And the next one is also from Today I Fucked Up. Today I fucked up by getting banned from McDonald's. Oh boy. Yeah. For the past few months, I've been taking advantage of a promotional deal through the McDonald's app where one can snag their breakfast sandwich for a mere $1.50, a significant markdown from its usual price of $4.89. A steal, right? These deals, as many of you might know, are often used as loss leaders by companies to draw customers in, with the hope that they'll purchase additional items at regular prices. However, my transactions with McDonald's were purely transactional. I was there for the deal and nothing else. My order history was a monotonous stream of $1.50 breakfast sandwiches and nothing more. To me, it was a way of maximizing value from a company that surely wouldn't miss a few dollars here and there, especially given their billion-dollar revenues. But it seems my frugal tactics caught the eye of the McDonald's account review team. This morning, as I attempted to log in and claim my daily dose of discounted breakfast, I was met with a message that struck me as both absurd and slightly flattering. My account had been banned for abusing their promotional deals. At first, I thought it was a mistake. How could taking advantage of a deal they offered be considered abuse? It's not as if I'd hacked the system or used illicit means to claim the offer. It was there in the app, available for anyone to use. Yet here I am, cast out from the Golden Arches digital embrace, all because I relished their deal a bit too enthusiastically. What puzzles me is the precedent this sets. Where do we draw the line between making the most of a promotional offer and abusing it? If a company offers a deal, should there not be an expectation that customers will, in fact, use it? And if that usage is deemed too frequent, does that not reflect a flaw in the promotional strategy rather than customer misconduct? Exactly. That's really dumb. I just want to say, OP, that's really dumb. Not on your end, on the McDonald's end. What the heck? And then someone says, just make a new email and boom, new account. That's how I expected this post to end. Even then, aren't they still making profit on a $1.50 breakfast sandwich? When I worked, we had 4 people on shift to close, and in the final hours, when we got rushed, the real time cost of a Big Mac was 49 cents. The real time cost of a cheeseburger was 25 cents. This was with a labor rate of 4. Average rate was 12, max allowed was 17. These are meals that people pay $8 for. Almost makes you as sick as their food does. That's annoying. I'm super ticked off for you, OP. That is super frustrating. Oh, someone says if it's Gmail, you don't even need to use a new address. Just put a dot in the username portion. Gmail addresses automatically drop dots, but most apps don't. You can also just use +1 or +2 or whatever to the end, and Gmail will automatically drop it. Or plus fuck you, Ronald. Interesting. Thanks for sharing. That's how I get to $1.50 McMuffins every time I go to McDick's. I refuse to eat at McDonald's without using a deal from their app. So if this is legit, I suppose I'll probably be joining you sooner rather than later, lol. Yeah, I've used a discount of some sort on every transaction since they introduced the app. Still ordering with no ban. Well, that is super frustrating, OP. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry you got screwed over because McDonald's is dumb and doesn't want to let people. They're taking advantage of the deal. It's not. How is it doing anything wrong? It's not abusing the deal. It's just using it. If you don't want to give out the deal, get rid of it, or make a like put a certain number of uses on it. Like, oh, you can only use it 5 times per user or something. I don't know. It's really dumb. It's their fault, not your fault, OP. What is the safest answer when your girlfriend asks if her friend is hot? Oh, and this is from r/random thoughts. Something about a survey. That's just a bot. Anyway, I never thought about this. Now that I mention it, what do you think? Beauty is not about looks. It's about what's inside, so I need to get inside of her to find out. And then someone shares a meme that says, "You died." A mad lad accepts his fate because he decided it. This is just like those old choose your own adventure Goosebumps books, but every answer leads to the same bad ending. I love those. My favorite part was running my fingers down the bumpy bits of the cover art. Those book order subscription people that used to come around to our school made a killing off of me from Goosebumps alone. They took forever to send you the books, months I think, and by the time they came around, it was like a surprise that I didn't remember ordering. uh, no, I'm gay. Safe. And then someone says, "Hi, gay. I'm dad." Oh my gosh. Dad, is that actually you? You really got the milk? Oh, wait, no. Yeah. Hi, gay, I'm Dad. Dad, is that actually you? You really got the milk? Yes, son. Sorry, it took me a while to find the low fat kind. But now I have to go get some cigarettes, but I promise when I come back, we'll finally go play catch. Oh, okay. Thank you for the low fat, though. I know it's tough to find these days. Can you pick me up some cigs, too? I swear. I'll pay you back, I swear. Alrighty. What did you ask again? Sorry, I was distracted. I was thinking about Alexander the Great's campaign in India. Even better. Sorry, didn't hear you. I was thinking about your hot friend. Alright. I'm gonna. Alright, next. This one is from r/am I the devil. I, 30 male, am starting to resent my wife, 30 female, for not being my ex, or what steps to take to rebuild a relationship. Background: I have been with my wife, Erin, for 7 years and married for 5, and we have a 2-year-old. 2 years ago, I fell in love with the greatest woman ever, Diamond. I never cheated on my wife before that, and I still say I didn't. What we had was true love. Disclaimer: my wife has a kind soul, but we don't have that spark that we used to. I miss the spark, intensity, and the passion that we had in the beginning of our relationship. I filed for divorce to be with Diamond like we agreed, but for reasons unknown, Diamond got cold feet. My relationship with Diamond lasted 11 months. Afterwards, my wife and I got back together because the divorce wasn't official yet. Now, Erin is a great woman, but she's not Diamond. After getting back together with Erin, every little thing she does bothers me. The way she gets dressed to go to work, the way she makes my coffee, everything. Unfortunately, I began taking it out on her by starting arguments and being snappy. Erin is a great person and doesn't deserve that. Fallout. I realized I needed to take a step back after what happened last night. My wife put the baby to bed and said she was going to shower and had to go to bed early. She asked if I wanted a snack or something before I go to bed. I said no. She said she loves me and kissed me on the cheek. I didn't say anything, and she said, "Why don't you love me?" She said I'm doing everything I can, but I don't know. I just told her point blank, "You're not her." That hurt her a lot. She just went upstairs, and when I joined her an hour later, she was still crying. She cried all night in the master bathroom, that I couldn't get sleep. Really? She stopped and went to bed finally at 3:30. I feel so fucking terrible, and I want to do my part to rebuild our passion. Please help any way you can. They have a 2-year-old. He cheated on her 2 years ago. He's a piece of shit. Yep. How convenient for him that the spark disappeared right around when a lot of care and support was needed. So coincidental how he wanted to fuck someone else when his pregnant wife was busy growing a human and throwing up. Not even that, if their kid is 2 when he had an affair 2 years ago, he had a newborn and his wife was in recovery from pushing a whole human out of her body. I'm willing to bet his wife didn't want to risk an infection and dying because he wanted sex. Sure, babe, your vagina is destroyed, but my penis is dry. Dry! Your mouth didn't have a C-section. My ex. The sirens from Kill Bill just started playing in my head. Neither did your hand. My ideal response. No, what a piece of shit. Even my devil ex could not have come up with this shit. That's absolutely disgusting. OP, you are the worst. I just want to say that. You are horrible. Ugh, I hate when people say that they miss the spark of the earlier phases of their relationships. Relationships will not have a spark like the one you want forever. That's not what they are. Relationships take work and communication and they change over the years, especially if they last long and there are kids involved and the people in them go through different life phases. Of course, that after years of marriage and a child, this marriage will not have the initial spark, nor will it have the one he had with Erin, with whom he had a short relationship, which was super different from his marriage. Marriages and relationships in general take work, communication, need the people involved to take care of them, and they will change over time. I've commented before, one of the best things my dad ever taught me was that there's a difference between romance and love, and do not confuse the two. Romance is exciting, love is about being reliable. Oh, I love that. I'm going to steal it. Good. More people need to learn the difference. Yep, new relationship energy. That's what he felt for his affair partner. And it was an affair despite the lipstick he is trying to put on that pig. Their relationship never lasted long enough to get out of that phase. Or it lasted exactly long enough for his affair partner to get past the NRE and realize that he is willing to cheat on his wife. I think NRE is new relationship excitement. And realize if he is willing to cheat on his wife, he is willing to cheat on her. If you read some of the subreddits about support for those who are cheated on the affair fog their cheating partners are in, is some crazy powerful stuff. Alright. The next one is from r/ am I wrong? My wife, who is pregnant, confessed she cheated on me last year. I am heartbroken and devastated. And then there's an update. We're going to read that after. Title pretty much says it all. She confessed to me last month because she wanted to get all our secrets out of the way before we had our first kid. She said it was a one-time thing that happened a year ago. I did not want to cause her any stress because she was pregnant, so I immediately forgave her. She looked repentant and cried a lot when she confessed to me. I told her it was okay. But I wasn't okay. I was heartbroken and devastated. I kept this all bottled up inside because I did not want to cause my wife any further stress. I confided in my parents and my siblings. My parents told me to stay with her and not to give up a beautiful family and a future because of one mistake. My sister was of the opposite mindset and told me to dump her because she was cheated by her ex-husband last year and has no tolerance for cheaters. I was confused, heartbroken, and traumatized. I decided to stay and give my wife another chance, but my heart is breaking piece by piece. I have no sense of reality or morality anymore. I already know things have gotten way too inappropriate between my sister and me, but my sense of morality has been broken. Am I wrong for how I'm following that? For how I'm handling about all this? Therapists knew me all, but therapists knew me all booked. The next available therapy appointment is in a few months. My wife is genuinely repentant, and I do envision a future with her. My sister wants to ditch the scumbag. My parents want me to stay with her. I'm being pulled apart in all directions. I don't know what to even think anymore. All I know is what I feel, and I feel heartbroken and devastated, but I still love my wife, especially now that she's carrying our baby. Yeah, she confessed it because it wasn't a year ago and the baby might not be yours. She is easing you into the truth. Most liars and cheaters don't confess in full. It comes out step by step. Trickle truthing. Is this a saying that's been known, or have you coined this perfect invocation phrase? It is a known saying. Cheaters will trickle the truth out, only admitting to the parts you already know. Yeah, so will narcissists, like Daniel. So, there's that too. Trickle truthing is very similar to the narcissist prayer. That didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't that bad, and if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. Yeah. That sounds about right, about appropriate for Daniel. Get a paternity test done before baby is born, before your name is put on the birth certificate. Her partner may have decided to leave her when he found out about pregnancy. She may be using you as a replacement to support her and the baby. You can't take her word for it that it was a one-time thing or that it was one person. Need to get yourself checked for STDs immediately. Try to see about online counseling if you can't get into one in your area. This is the safest route for OP. Alright, I'm going to go to the update. Wait. Oh, shit. No. Um, the update is not available. Shit. No. There's only the title. The update is, like, not here. It's just, I don't think it exists, which is a freaking bummer. Okay. Let's see. I need more stuff. Okay, this next one is from r/stories, and it says, my stepbrother is mad. I said I don't know to having sex with him. What the fuck? Okay, so I, a 14-year-old female, and my stepbrother is 17 years old, who all call M. So we have known each other for 2 years now. M lives with my dad and his mom, and I live with my mom. Anyways, at school earlier today, M asked me and my cousin, who all call S, to hang out. And S instantly said yes, and I agreed, and then we agreed to hang out at the park. So me and S got there before M showed up, so we were just sitting there bored when M hands me his phone and it said, "Do you want to have sex with me?" I was shocked and confused and didn't know what to say, so I said, I don't know, and then I handed him back the phone, but M kept persisting we should. Then I tried telling S that I felt uncomfortable, but she didn't understand why. But then M started messing with S, and then S got mad and left. So now me and M are alone. Then he walked up to me and said, Come on, I already have a condom on, so don't be lame. But I kept saying I don't know because I was scared to say no. Now I'm scared to go to school tomorrow and see him. What do I do? What the fuck? Oh my god. You need to tell an adult that you trust immediately. Immediately. Update. M has added me on Snapchat somehow. I don't know how he got my user, but he was trying to get me to sneak out and have sex with him. But I told him no and blocked him, but now I'm more scared. Second update. M has texted me on Messenger this morning saying he's very sorry for everything he did yesterday and that he's not going to school anymore. I don't know if any of that is true though. It makes me feel like I should just let this go. But I went to go tell my mom what happened, but she was already gone, which is weird. But I had to get to school, so I haven't gotten the chance to talk to her yet, so I'm going to try to talk to her after school. Third update. Hello guys, Em went to school today and it felt like I was seeing him all over school, but he was still trying to get me to have sex. He doesn't care I'm only 14 and he doesn't take no for an answer. Anyways, I told my mom. I don't know if she believes me or not. She was asking if I have proof, which I don't. You have the text that he sent you. Now I feel like I shouldn't have even told her because and the Snapchat texts, right? Anyways, I told my mom. I don't know if she believes me or not. She was asking if I have proof, which I don't. Now I feel like I shouldn't have even told her because now it looks like I'm making it up. But she took my phone away and told me to go to my room, and now I'm typing this on an iPad. I don't know when I'll get my phone back, but that's the only update I have. I don't know if you guys will even see this update. Are you kidding me? She took your phone away? Because of why? And I know this looks fake, but it's real. I have no reason to lie. For everyone asking for proof, what makes you think I have proof when I couldn't even show my mom anything? That's why she doesn't believe me. Make it make sense. Okay, again, don't you have the text that he sent you? And also like Snapchat conversations or whatever? You said he was talking to you on Snapchat, so just show her that. Or show her the text. Okay. I would like to say for everyone who's saying I should go talk to my guidance counselor, uh, she doesn't really do her job. She just sits around and waits to go home. I don't know what to do about that. It's like my whole school doesn't do their job, and my dad and I do not have a good relationship at all since him and Em's mom got together. So I don't really talk to them like that, and I'm planning to try to talk to my mom again at dinner and hope it goes alright. Update. Well, I tried talking to my mom again. All she did was ignore me at dinner, so I'm not sure what I even should do at this point. I have to go to my dad's tomorrow to stay for the weekend. I'm scared and I'm going to try and tell my dad and Em's mom about it. I don't know if they'll believe me. um, so Em just texted me and I was able to get a screenshot of it. I don't know if I consider it enough evidence for anyone to believe me, but I hope so. Can anyone see this? And the last line that says, "Can anyone see this?" is in all caps. Tell your dad. If he doesn't believe you, tell your school guidance counselor. Your mom is an idiot and she will pay for this once the police get involved, and all who deserve it will suffer. Em and your mom. If you ever get your phone back, you can use it as a recording device and tape what's being said. OP could also always refuse to go to the dads, then CPS has to get involved. CPS is pretty predatory overall, but they take stuff like this seriously. I know, right? CPS looks for any excuse to investigate someone. It's almost as if they're suspicious of anyone and doesn't think anyone deserves kids. Or better, go to dad's and refuse to go back to the mom's house where she's being victimized and the mom is condoning it. Edit, I misread. Yes, mom's house is the problem. Yeah, she should definitely not go there until this is dealt with. I'm pretty sure Em lives with her dad. Em's mom and OP's dad are together. Oh, you're right. I misread it initially. Then yeah, she should definitely refuse to go there then. If he messages you again, take screenshots. Unfortunately, you might have to have those to get people to believe you. Wouldn't the messages he sent be in your inbox still? Not in Snapchat. Don't know if you know how Snapchat works, but everything gets deleted. Everything gets deleted permanently immediately after viewed unless screenshotted or saved. Pretty sure Snap keeps a log for legal stealing data reasons for 1 to 3 months after. If OP contacted the cops now, they could likely recover it. Honestly, my advice, tell as many people as you can until someone believes you. If you keep telling people this story, then eventually someone will believe you, whether it's your dad, the school guidance counselor, or the police. Call the police, get the police involved. That's a good idea too. Get the police involved. They might believe you. They might take it seriously. They might look into this. CPS, the cops, whoever you have to call, anyone, any family you have, any friends you have, anyone you might be able to tell. Anyone you might be able to tell, you tell them. I would speak to a teacher you trust, or your principal, or a guidance counselor. And then someone says this. Your mom sounds horrible. Tell your other parent or a close family member. I also suggest talking to a teacher. You're probably not safe, so please don't be alone with him. Wow, stay away from him and talk to your other parent, aunt, or close relative. Yeah, seriously, tell everybody. Please tell another trusted adult. Tell your dad, and even though you may not have proof, it's okay. Your mom not believing you isn't okay. Tell her your friend knows about it. If M tries anything when you're alone, please defend yourself. Always go for the eyes. Stick your thumbs into his eyes. Please be careful. Definitely tell your dad or even M's mom if you two get along well. Tell some type of trusted adult. Teacher, best friend's mom, someone. Please talk to someone who can help you. I have an unpopular opinion that teenagers and their hormones say dumb things, so the very first incident I'd be more likely to say, okay, well, that was dumb, but oh well. But he's essentially stalking you and trying to force you, and probably will actually physically force you if he's given the opportunity. This is escalating very fast, and you need an adult to help you. My dad and I don't have a good relationship at all since he's been with M's mom, and this is from OP. My dad and I don't have a good relationship at all since he's been with M's mom, and I never talked to M's mom, so I don't know who to go to. I'm scared to tell my teachers because I don't want this to be too extreme for no reason. And then someone replies, I'm a mom, I'm going to message you. And then someone says, please don't encourage this nonsense. This isn't a real child, it's an adult writing fetish porn, and that person has -4 upvotes. It was -3, but I also downvoted it because what the fuck? And then someone replies, yes, the guy is walking around with a condom on, and he has -5. Well, -6 downvotes now, because I downvoted him as well. But, like, what the fuck? People are assholes for saying that this, like, isn't real. You don't know that this isn't real, and this is, if it is real, which I think it is, it's, like, a serious problem. Alright, I gotta take a break. I'll be back in a bit. Alright, part 3, and I think what will be the final part to this video. I'm gonna go back into my Reddit stuff and find some more stories. But, I think I'm gonna record for maybe about an hour. If I have to drop this on Sunday, I will. I'm hoping I can get this out tonight, but... And also, this is gonna be, again, one of my shorter episodes because I just haven't been able... I've had a really hard time focusing on anything lately, including videos for, like, a while. Like, if I record for more than a couple hours. So I have to record in short bursts, and then I usually just don't want to record anymore because I'm just having a hard time focusing right now. My hope is that I'll be able to have a anyway, this next post is from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for kicking my brother and his family out after he tried to give me a whore intervention? So basically an intervention for being a whore. And this post is marked as not the asshole. I'm having a hard time feeling remorseful, and I am unwilling to apologize for calling my brother out and for asking him to vacate my property. I have given him many chances to stop this behavior, and my brother won't stop shaming me for having been a stripper before I got my prestigious job. These are his literal words. I'm an anesthetist. He has been making offhand remarks about me having been a stripper since he found out 6 years ago. He gets on these long tirades about how I am ungodly, unholy, and that the sins I committed can never be forgiven unless I repent and let Christ into my heart. I am not religious. I'm certainly not a Christian and will never be one. But my brother refuses to accept this. Also, I only started stripping because of his drug and gambling addiction, ruined mine and our parents' lives. He remortgaged their house, took out loans and several credit cards in our parents' names, and even sold our parents' identity to his former dealer. I guess that's a drug dealer. I didn't know how bad the situation was until I came home one day from university and found strangers living in our house. My father was too embarrassed to let me know they were living out of their car. They also never reported my brother to the police because my parents didn't want him back in prison. Last time he went in for 2 years. Me and my parents were blackmailed to pay his prison debt. Oh my god. He is a horrible person. Your brother is a horrible person, OP. And I'm assuming when you say that your parents were blackmailed, they were blackmailed by him, which is really messed up. And something they definitely should have gone to the police with, and I would have gone to the police with that. I also would have gone to the police with the identity stealing thing because I don't give a fuck. If he's gonna do all sorts of messed up shit, then he deserves to be in prison. Like, I don't care if he's my brother. You should go to prison. Okay, so when I found out my parents, baby sister and baby brother were living out of their car, I decided to work as a stripper. I made good money, and with that money, I was able to house my family, pay off my parents' debt, my brother's debt, and put my younger siblings through college and university. Why would you pay off your brother's debt? He's an asshole. He's a horrible person. During that time, I also paid for his rehab and he got his shit together. Okay, stop paying for his shit. Now he is happily married, employed, sober, and with a child on the way. FYI, I paid for his wife's in vitro fertilization treatments, which is how Marceline and Shadow are having the twins. They did IVF. Last Sunday, our parents invited some people over for a big catered dinner. My brother and his wife thought this would be the perfect time to turn it into what he called a horror invention and embarrass me in front of all the guests. Uh, I completely lost it. I was so enraged that I spent most of the evening cussing him and my sister-in-law out. I reminded him that I would have never been a stripper if he hadn't tried to ruin us. On Monday, I drew up an eviction notice and sent it to him. I want to cut all ties with him and his family. I am truly done with him. Almost everyone is telling me I am right in being angry, but that it's terrible to kick him and his wife out when they are due to have their first child in 9 weeks. My parents are begging me to forgive him, and honestly, I feel like I have been, and I am being reasonable as I've given them 90 days. I am done being called the whore of Babylon and the downfall of mankind. Yeah. Apologies for the length, but I thought I needed you all to know as much as possible. And I feel like I'm losing my mind. I had to repost this because the moderators locked it down for breaking the rules. I've edited it, and we posted it for judgment. Thanks. Edit for clarity. I stripped for 5 years and used the money from that to claw myself and family out of debt and pay for my brother's rehab. I haven't stripped in over a decade. I paid for my sister-in-law's in vitro in vitro fertilization. I can't talk either. And bought the house my brother and his wife live in with my nurse anesthetist money, which is why he doesn't feel bad about asking me for help now, because this money wasn't made from sinning. Also, my sister-in-law is just as bad as he is. Well, fuck all of them. I just want to say, you, you're absolutely right in kicking them out, and, you're absolutely right in kicking them out and not wanting them around anymore and not wanting to deal with them anymore and being done with them, because that's super fucked up. After you did all this to help your family and to help him, which I wouldn't have done, by the way, if he, like, sold my parents' identities and put them into debt and then blackmailed them to also pay his debt out of prison, then I would have just said, fuck you, I don't care anymore, and I would have not helped him at all. But you've helped him immensely after this. I'm not gonna, like, call you a pushover because the lines blur a lot when it comes to family, and I feel like, honestly, I even feel like I was a pushover with my sister. I cut her off a couple of years ago, but I should have cut her off much sooner, and I never should have lived with her. Like, I kept thinking, okay, maybe I'll give her one more chance and, she'll actually be nice to me this time, and then she never was. I mean, on the very rare occasion she would be nice, but then the rest of the time she was awful to me. Sorry, I'm trying not to yawn. She was awful to me, like, the whole time. And she was awful to me, so I'm really glad I finally cut her off, but I should have cut her off much sooner, and it's way more difficult when it comes to family. So yeah, I feel like I was a pushover with the whole situation with my sister as well. So I'm not gonna call you a pushover or anything, because I can understand why you wanted to help your family, why you wanted to help everyone, But I do have to say, it's your choice. Like, you're allowed to do that. Stripping, it's not illegal, first of all. Um, and you it's not like it's not like you've become a prostitute or something. Like, being a prostitute is illegal. I don't think stripping is illegal. There's literally strip clubs where men can go to watch women dance. It's not illegal. So, and, even if you hadn't done it, like, to get your family out of debt, even if you just did it because, I don't know, you thought it looked fun and you wanted to dance and be a stripper or whatever, still not, like, it's still not illegal. I mean, it's still not a bad it's still your choice. It still doesn't make you the asshole. Even if you didn't do it to claw your family out of debt, and even if you didn't do it to help your whole family give them a great life, which you did, but even if you didn't do that, it's still your choice, and it's not like you're doing anything wrong or illegal. And if your brother thinks that stripping is bad, if your brother thinks that stripping is bad, then that's on him. But, like, it's really dumb because even if you just wanted to do it because you thought it looked fun and you wanted to dance, then you could still do that. You still wouldn't be the asshole in that story. But, like, I wouldn't even give him 90 days. I just want to say that. He would get the standard 30 days. Anyway, he would get the standard 30 days or nothing. Like, if he's gonna be a dick about it, then he could leave right away. I don't even care. Just kick him out on the streets in the middle of the night. I don't give a fuck. But, like, I wouldn't have done so much to help him in the first place. But, okay, let's pretend that you were really upset by your behavior in the past and you wanted to fix it and you wanted to make it better and, like, you really felt that his whorevention was correct in saying that you were a bad person for stripping and you wanted to take it super seriously. In that case, what does he expect you to do? What does he expect you to do exactly? Like, does he expect you, like, take your time machine that every human being has and just, like, go back in time and not strip? And then the whole family just ends up, like, in deep shit, and your brother ends up in deep shit, by the way. He stays in prison because you didn't pay off his prison debt or whatever, and then so everyone just ends up living their terrible lives, and possibly things get worse and worse for everyone, including your brother, by the way, because you were helping him this whole time. His wife never has a baby, so there's that. Because you're the one paying for the IFV or the IVF, whatever it's called. You're the one paying for the IVF. So if you don't pay, then his wife never has a baby. And this is all the stripping stuff. And what happens then? Like, even if, like, you just use your time machine that you have because, people just have that. And those are definitely available and you can totally go back in time. Like, what the hell? What does he expect exactly? What does he expect you to do? I'm sorry, it's absolutely. Mm. Um, Anyway, I wouldn't give him 90 days. I would get some friends to throw all this stuff out of your house, change the locks, and call the cops that he's trying to break in. I would never talk to your brother again, and if he ever does that horse stuff comments, ask him how his drug deals are doing, and how are the accommodations in jail. Yeah, he's born again, which is always a joke. He ruined your family, makes them sleep in the car, and then has the audacity to blame your past on everything else. And if you're so evil, why is he living with you? That's a good point. Forget his baby, forget his life, go no contact with him forever, and talk to your parents about their reaction and that what he's doing to you. Not the asshole, forget the lot of them. Hopefully, OP never has to talk to him again, but if she does, she should ask for all the money she paid for his rehab and bail back. And the IVF. Why would she even have paid for IVF? If they couldn't afford it, why have a child? I mean, yeah, there's that, but also adoption is always a choice, and I'm pretty sure it costs way less to adopt a kid. Anyway, I would think that IVF goes against God's mysterious and spooky plan. Why are they going against God's will that they not have children? You can't bring logic into their religious delusion. It's already been kicked out. Um, and then IVF goes against God's mysterious and spooky plan, and someone responds to that. So do drugs and gambling. OP's brother and sister-in-law are like so many Christians I know. They pick and choose what commandments to follow as it suits their needs. They're so predictable, aren't they? I sometimes wonder if they even read the damn book they used to judge people with so much. Yeah, God says the whole point of the Bible is not to judge people and to just love everyone. There's this sign outside of our local church that me and my mom always drive by when we're going somewhere, and they change the sign like I think every week. And a while back, like a few months ago, it said, "Love everyone, I'll sort them out later," and that was a direct quote from God. It was hilarious. I loved it. Um, I think I'm gonna do a couple more of these. Uh, r slash hypothetical situation is where this next post is from. Could you kill someone for $100,000? I'm gonna say no, absolutely not. You will be given 100K in whatever form you like, cash, Bitcoin, gold, etc. It is tax free. But to get it, you have to kill a random 18-year-old person that you do not know. They were in good health. They did nothing wrong. Oh, well, there's that. They could probably have a long and good life. The catch is you have to walk up to them and do it with your own hands. You will have to face them and strangle them. You will watch the life drain from their eyes. They won't fight back, just stare at you as you kill them. They can speak and will probably beg you not to do it. There are no legal repercussions. No one will know beyond the people you tell. The only downside is the emotional trauma or guilt you have to deal with yourself. Could you do it? Hell no. I couldn't, and even if I could, I wouldn't. Man, these CIA recruitment ads are getting wild. LinkedIn recruiters inboxing folks after a second Boeing whistleblower comes forward. The PsyOps test to see if you'd really do it would be pulling a trigger when the other end of the muzzle is through a glory hole. When you do, the walls fall down and you're on a stage. It's all the CEOs and Epstein Island enjoyers clapping because you're the new unaliver man. Little do they know they're on the list, free of charge. How did you get a hold of my list? Oh boy. What the fuck? No. Bunch of psychos in here. Well, guess who's not getting 100K, lol. Well, no one wants to. Well, no one wants to. No, not a random 18-year-old. Now, my former boss, heck, I'll do it for a cup of coffee as long as I can get away with it. If I can get away with it, and there are no legal repercussions or anything, I'd probably dust my dad, to be quite honest. Yeah, but still, I wouldn't do that anyway, because, you know, the Bible and stuff. Also, I just don't want to deal with that guilt, regardless of how terrible a person he was, which he is. Um, if they were speaking, you aren't doing it right. Well, hello there, BTK. How lovely you now have an internet connection. I don't get that. Milk shot out my nose laughing at this one, thanks. And people say life in prison is a penalty. I feel like if you can watch TV and chill with an iPad, maybe it's not that bad. Wait, you can have an iPad in jail? That's a thing? You can have an iPad in prison? No way, killing somebody, even somebody that has done me wrong, is not at all worth all the money in the world for me. The guilt would most definitely eat me alive. Edited, edited wording. It wouldn't be for no reason. It would be for 100K. Still wouldn't kill an innocent person for 100K though. It's business. Don't make it personal. They're guilty of being in my way of 100K. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I still wouldn't and would never. Uh, do do do. Yeah, I get you. I wouldn't kill a person who has done me no wrong for any money. Hell, I wouldn't even kill me the person that did me wrong, and I've had some fucked up traumatic shit happen to me. Same here, man. Same here. I have the peace of mind knowing the two people that personally have caused me the most harm in life both died excruciatingly painfully from the advanced effects of chronic alcoholism. That's good enough for me and much better than staining my hands. And yeah, in general, I don't know that I could, let alone think I would kill anyone for money, with some very notable exceptions. But they're all dead anyway. Pol Pot, Hitler, and inner crew. I don't think I would suffer moral qualms about those folks. Yeah, I found out one of my abusers almost died of COVID, and I was like, fuck. Like, goddamn, I wish that virus had got him. almost died of COVID. They were probably on a ventilator for a few weeks and probably pretty fucked up afterwards. Good. And I think he was immunocompromised due to his HIV. Apparently, while he was on his almost deathbed, he told my mom to pass along a message to me when he thought when he thought he was dying, but I told my mom, "Nope, I don't want to know." And I'm fucking proud that he gets to die with that secret and I don't. Hope that nasty gross pedo rots in hell. He'll probably be rotting in real life before rotting in the graveyard. He's already rotten to the core, so there's that. Oh my gosh, yes. Also, if Daniel got COVID or died from it or whatever, then good. I'm happy. But also he's immunocompromised because of diabetes. I have a family history of diabetes, so ooh, this one's interesting. Okay, this one is from Ask Reddit, and it says, "What's the most disturbing thing you learned about someone on the first date?" I'm really interested to hear some of these responses. Uh, Well, a Tinder date just smoked a little heroin off some aluminum foil in front of me, so probably that. And then someone replies, "Tatch." I have no idea what that is. They can somehow get real heroin. At least they've got that going for them. Someone told me she really wanted a Jaguar when she was in high school, but her dad bought her a Prius instead, so she crashed it on purpose. And then he bought her another Prius, and she crashed it again. I guess he learned his lesson afterwards and bought her a Jaguar. Oh my gosh. That one is on the parents. Like, like, yeah, she crashed the cars too, but like, oh my god, they raised an entitled brat. You don't buy a kid a second car when they purposefully crash their first car. If I guess if they crash the car once, there's a chance it could be an accident. And you're like, okay, well, the insurance payout will deal with that. And then, obviously that's insurance fraud. So if they get caught, they're going to jail. But then after they crash the car the second time, you don't then be like, okay, sweetie, you know what? I'll buy you the car you want. Let's see the responses to this. Wow, but this one is partially on her parents. Just partially, full fault for raising such an entitled brat. Yeah, if one of my kids intentionally wrecked any car I bought for them, the next conversation will go, "Well, that sucks for you. I guess walking is your new mode of transportation until you can pay to fix it or buy a new car on your own." I mean, unless, of course, the kid wants to commit insurance fraud, in which case, they go to prison, so there's that. Damn it. Your next car is a 40-foot looker with your own chauffeur. Have fun on the bus. Yeah, totally. Definitely. Had a roommate once who would crash his Audi every year, so his parents would buy him a new one. I knew him 3 years with 3 different new Audis. What the fuck? 4 zeros on the grill and one behind the wheel. Username surprisingly relevant. Oh, there's a bunch of. Oh, his username is a bunch of zeros. Okay, there's that. Let's see some more responses. She was not only a Scientologist, but hella deep into it. My dad has admitted he'd disown me over one thing, and I'm glad it's Scientology. Boom, boom. um, my gal and I had a good night and things were progressing, and right at the last second, she tells me she had a felony conviction because, in her capacity as a social worker for at risk youth, she'd had sex with one of said at risk youths. Yikes. At least you didn't have to find out later? She at least advertises her deal breakers early. This would be a much worse thing to find out months in. That's why I always tell guys I'm unironically into astrology on the first date. I don't see that as a problem. As long as they don't try and force me to also be into astrology. Like, okay, whatever. I'm a Christian, but I'm not gonna force my religion on you, so don't force your beliefs on me, please. I always said I don't care if I'm with someone and we have different belief system. Um, but as long as we don't try and force their beliefs on each other and they don't try and force their beliefs on me. I won't force my beliefs on them and they shouldn't force their beliefs on me. That's a healthy relationship. That's a healthy way to go about it. My mom is very clear that she wants someone who's a Christian though, so He was a gambling addict and said he didn't get much out of his meetings at Gamblers Anonymous because the other people there were low stakes grandmas playing bingo and he was more of a high roller, so he couldn't relate. Kind of makes sense about not relating, but strange to bring up on a first date. I guess at least he's honest. See, I think this is information I need to know on a first date. Tell me out of the gate so I know what I'm in for and can make an informed decision. Okay. Said casually after our hookup, I have to get up early tomorrow because I have a court date for hitting my ex-wife. Yikes. That is a huge red flag. You dodged a bullet there. Used to live with my best friend in college. One day I got up. I knew she had gone to the bar the night before but was at work, but I heard sounds coming from her room. I checked my phone and she texted me, "Don't worry about the guy in my room." What? Turned out she'd met a guy at the bar, hit it off with him, but he didn't have anywhere to live because he'd just gotten out of jail, so she invited him to live with us. And now it was just me and him alone in the house. Basically spent the day hiding. What? He ended up staying with us until we found a place to live, and it ended our friendship. Over the next months, he was in and out of court dates fighting multiple counts of assault against his ex. Allegedly, he was being blackmailed by her, and she was crazy. He was definitely kind of a dick, in my opinion, but not exactly abusive that I ever saw. They ended up getting married, and they've been together for like 15 years and have kids. He actually seems like he's cleaned up a lot and is a nice guy now. He hates me. Now, you have a legit reason to have had a major issue with that one. Like, I'm so glad it worked out well for her, but that's so damn dangerous. Yeah, I agree. That really could have gone either way. Alright, am I the asshole? My boyfriend says I ruined our relationship because of my period. Advice needed. Throw away because this is embarrassing enough already. I, a 23 female, and my boyfriend, 30 male, have been dating for 2 years. We don't live together because I don't want to live with his roommates, and I won't let him move in with me because I live in a small studio behind my landlord's house. The space just isn't large enough. I was the only girl in my house growing up with five brothers. I know men don't like to know about this stuff. My dad and brothers always made me throw my women things in the outside trash and I was never allowed to talk about it. That's really stupid. It's it's natural. It happens to everyone. Ugh. When I know I'm going to be with my boyfriend or if I'm at work and in public, I will use a disc. They work okay for short periods of time for me, but at night when I know I'm going to be alone, I will use those disposable underwear. I don't worry about tossing around at night and leaking. I don't have to think about getting TSS, toxic shock syndrome, and honestly, I cramp less. But they look like a diaper, and I know that's not sexy. My boyfriend had a weekend trip to Vegas planned, leave on Friday and come back Monday. I was on my period, and I knew he would be out of town, so I decided to sleep comfortably. Something happened on the trip, and they ended up coming back late Sunday instead of Monday. He decided not to tell me because he wanted to surprise me. So I went to bed Sunday night around 9, like always. At some point in the middle of the night, he slipped into bed with me. When he got into bed, he felt the period underwear and freaked out. He said I was gross for just laying there in the blood. I got up, took a shower, and changed into a disc. When I laid back down, he just ignored me and went to sleep. I went to work and didn't hear from him on Monday. Tuesday afternoon, he came over to talk and said when he thinks about me, all he can see is a child wearing a diaper. He asked if I use them, and I said of course not, but he says he doesn't believe me, that I'm a horrible girlfriend for hiding this fetish from me, that he's wasted all of this time and energy on a relationship. I tried to explain why I use them when he's not around and that I know they aren't attractive, that I'll stop using them altogether because I love him and I want to ruin our relationship. He said he'll think about it, but he wants me to talk to my doctor about getting on a different birth control so I don't have my period at all because now the thought of me having one grosses him out. I told him I don't want to change birth controls, so now he says I'm an asshole for not being willing to do something so simple to make him feel better. I told him I needed a few days to get a hold of my doctor. I have an appointment on Friday. Am I the asshole if I decide not to change birth controls? Update. I canceled the doctor's appointment. I'm reading through everyone's comments. There's so many I can't respond. I want to clear a few things up though. Him coming in while I was sleeping. He had permission to do that for most of our relationship because he works very early in the morning and would wake me up so we can spend time together on days we wouldn't see each other later. So not that was not attempted rape or a concern at all. As a teen, my best friend's mom, who bought me pads. My mom passed when I was 9. Some people messaged me, and during those conversations, a few more things have connected. And yeah, I'm gonna break up with him. There are other things he's done that I didn't think were problems, but they are. Thank you for helping me. Last update. I took the little bit of stuff he had here to his apartment while he was at work. I met with him after he got off and told him I wasn't going to change birth control, and after thinking about his reaction and a few other conversations we've had, I had no interest in being with him anymore. He threw a tantrum saying I'm never going to find someone who loves me like him, and a lot of other gross things I don't want to repeat. When I got home, I thanked my landlord for telling me to post here and told her what the outcome was. Just so everyone isn't worried, you have to go through a gate with a code to get to where my studio is. I changed my access code so he can't get in, and gave the night security his call information and a photo just to be safe. There are so many comments that I can't respond to all of them. Thank you for all of the advice, not only about this situation, but many of you commented about my upbringing and that there are some things I need to work through. I'm going to do that. Thanks for everything. Yeah, your dad and brothers are really dumb for making you like throw your women things outside in the outside garbage can and never talk about it and shit like that. LOL, leave. Does he know girls poop too? God knows what would happen if he realized they also fart. We may be related, as that was my exact thought, and God forbid she belch. Opie would be better served replacing the boyfriend with an actual man who understands and is accepting of bodily functions. Man here, this guy is an ignorant douche, and so are your dad and brothers. Yeah, periods aren't pretty or fun, but they are an actual thing that simply needs to be taken care of. Whatever way is comfortable for you, do it. It shouldn't be embarrassing. Good luck finding someone who is educated and empathic. My husband grew up with a mom and 2 sisters. He was no stranger to women's natural functions. This guy and OP's brothers sound like pig ignorant buttheads. Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. Um, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I was lucky enough to be able to get on a birth control. I got on it for like a different reason. I got on a oral birth control for like a different reason, but it actually made my period basically go away. Like, I don't bleed, I don't deal with any of that. I don't need pads, I don't have cramps, none of that stuff. I might have a little bit of like my IBS might be a little bit worse at that time during the week, but as long as I'm on oral birth control, I don't have to worry about that. So I've been on it for several years, and I'm really happy about it for a bunch of reasons, but I think one of the main reasons I'm happy about it is because I'm non-binary, and that was really helpful for my gender dysphoria and stuff. Anyway, new comment thread. Hang on. I'm trying to find a new comment thread. Run! Real men aren't phased by periods. It's life. This is such a huge red flag. I'm insulted for you. Not the asshole, but the man child you were dating certainly is. Edit. Guys, it was one word mistyped. He's still the asshole. I was shocked when she said about men not liking such things. Her father and siblings are obviously children too. Yeah, that's absolutely insane. This is so beautiful. No. Crap. Okay, hang on. Hmm. Sorry, I have to get back to the freaking comment. This is so beautiful. My dad. Hang on. There's a story that I have to read first, which is what the response is to. It's so weird. I was going on holiday recently with my mom, and my period unexpectedly arrived just as I was loading the suitcases into the taxi. I had to run back inside and quickly change, and I handed my knickers and white trousers. I was heading on holiday after all. To my stepdad and asked if he would sort it for me, as they'd be completely ruined by the time we got back. He soaked them in cold water, then popped them in the wash for me because he's a grown man, and my mum has probably moaned in the past how hard it is to find flattering white trousers, so we understood, lol. And then the response, this is so beautiful. My dad more or less stopped speaking to me after I got my first period. I love the fact that your stepdad was completely unfazed about helping you with yours. Whoa, that's fucked up. I hope you have men in your life now who aren't like your dad. Oh, 100%. My husband is more comfortable with my cycle than I am. Blew my mind when he was able to talk about it so easily. Alright, so this next post is from r/anti-work. My manager left this note to HR about me in the printer. Feeling pretty chatty right now. On 3/11/24, I issued blank a write-up. He refused to sign it and stated, if I'm going to get a write-up, then do it because I don't even want to see it at this point. He also stated I'm not doing these duties, so might as well ask someone else to do them. I called HR to report the absorbance. I proceeded to walk across the street to blank to send the write-up to HR. As soon as I sat down, he called me to tell me that he was sick from all the commotion and needed to leave. I asked if he could at least stay for a half hour so I could call someone to cover his shift. He said no and left. I met him outside and he gave me the store keys and told me, you guys really need to get your shit together. And then he took off on his bicycle. Okay. I called HR to report the absorbance. I'm dying. My guess is he meant insubordinates. Gah, thank you, my dipshit to English generator was failing me. To be fair, it is frequently overloaded, given that it does have to do double duty translating English back into dipshit so I can understand. Ugh. Literally so many grammatical and spelling errors in that note. So might as well ask someone else. I'd be so embarrassed submitting that. Your manager needs basic language classes. Yeesh. Alright. Okay, this next one is from r/ask parents. And I think it's gonna be our last one for now because I'm just having such a hard time focusing and doing this stuff, and I just have so much going through my head right now, like all the time. I need to deal with a bunch of stuff. So my Reddit stories might be fewer, shorter and farther between, and also a little more, okay. R/ask parents. My nephew, 14, and his girlfriend, 13, are sleeping at my house, and their parents are fine with them in one bed. Should I do anything? Not sure what to ask, so I thought I'd do it here. I live abroad with my husband. My mom said she wanted to visit me soon, so I happily agreed. Then she asked if she could bring my nephew, 14, to which I said yes because he hasn't been to this country yet and I'd love to see him. I haven't had much contact with him for the past few years due to me having emigrated and him being a shy teenager. Then my nephew asked if he could bring his girlfriend, 13. I told him this might be tricky as we only have 2 guest beds. He said that's fine, but I obviously wasn't so sure, so I checked with my mom and his mom. They both assured me it was fine. Apparently, they had already been sleeping in a bed together. I asked whether her parents were also okay with it, and I was assured that they were. Now I feel weird. I agreed that all 3 could come, but I worry about my nephew and this girl. Background: his mom gave birth to his brother when she was 16. He followed 2 years later when she was 18. While she doesn't say it out loud, I know exactly how my sister would react if he was becoming a teenage father himself. She laughed hysterically, encouraged both to go through with it, and then insert herself into every doctor's appointment, into the delivery room, etc. She'd be the happiest and most involved grandma in the world, while my nephew and his girlfriend would have to bear the consequences. So I don't really know if I should insert myself into the situation that has materialized in my guest bedroom. I don't want to forbid anything that's already happening or be awkward, but I don't know. What do? I feel so bad for them. They probably think it's cool that they're allowed to do this, and I get it. I had the same privileges at that age. But I also had my older sister as a walking, talking cautionary tale, so I was quite reasonable about it. Do you have any advice for me? They're coming on Saturday for 2 nights. I'd really appreciate it. I think it's even more weird that nephew's girlfriend's parents are just super casually okay with her traveling abroad to a stranger's house at 13. I had the same thought, to be honest. My parents were similar, so I sympathize with her. I sort of want to sit down with them both and give them some wisdom that I, as a fellow neglected child, picked up, but that would probably be super weird to them. Ugh. I just want to know that my sister convinced my nephew to bring his girlfriend just because she likes the drama and hates my nephew having normal family time with anyone. Uh, exactly. That blows my mind as a parent. You don't have to let them sleep in the same bed if you're not comfortable with it. Have the nephew sleep on a sofa or something on the floor. Your house, your rules. If you're not comfortable with it, then say so. They will survive. Uh, I would tell him his girlfriend can't come. Tell him you haven't seen him in so long that you really want to spend some family time together. This is a really awkward situation. I think it's enabling. I wouldn't. You don't need their lives ruined when this child ends up pregnant. Your house, your rules. You don't have to convince anyone or defend it. Your house, your rules. I would not allow that. I would explain that what they do at home is on them, but as the adult who owns a home, you can't allow them to sleep in the same room. I would have mom in my room, nephew in one guest room, and girlfriend in the other. I'd stay on the couch if need be. Yeah, totally. Have one of the kids sleep on a sofa or something. But personally, I'd be putting a stop to the entire trip myself. Um, but feign ill if you don't want to tell the truth. But it sounds like this whole scenario just sounds like a bad idea. Ugh. Okay. How would you feel if you found out they got pregnant at your house? Guilty? Okay. Let it guide your choices. Your house, your rules. You also have every right to call girlfriend's parents to hear from their mouths what the rules are. Very likely they've been told something different. I would simply uninvite the girlfriend. She's a stranger to you, and you don't want to be looking after someone else's child in a foreign country. Like, what happens if she needs to go to the ED? Eating doctor? ED? Is that emergency something? Emergency doctor? Her next of kin isn't here and you don't know their wishes. I would also take your nephew aside and make some boundaries with him that your sister isn't. If your sister is pissed that you don't want to deal with a guest you didn't invite into your house, you can call off the trip indefinitely. Yes, totally agree with you. She is just a little girl in the end, and you take all the responsibility to take care of her at your home and let her sleep with your nephew in the same bed. It is not only pregnancy the problem, but so many things could go wrong. What if she feels uncomfortable in the middle of the night and she has a breakdown or something? They are too young, and I wouldn't take all this responsibility on my shoulders, even for my own son. Your nephew can come and visit as much as he wants, but not bring strangers along with him. This is crazy. You would think since she got pregnant as a teen, she would do everything in her power to keep it from happening with her children. You could tell them your house, so your rules, and have him sleep on the couch or something, but if it's happening at home, I guess it doesn't matter much. This is totally not your place, so I understand if you aren't comfortable with it, but I would maybe try to talk to him about being safe and ask if he has any questions or needs condoms, or if she is on or needs help getting birth control. You probably won't be able to take her to get it, but maybe you could find somewhere she can get it. If you can, maybe order them a few of the Plan B pills when they get home. Oof. Alright. I think that's enough for today. I'm just like all over the place right now, and am probably going to be for a while until certain issues are resolved and everything is fine again. But for now, I am going to go. I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. You are valid. Don't forget to be good to yourself and others. And I will see all you guys in the next video, which should be in a few days. Bye. Oh, before I go, I just want to say, do you guys enjoy, do you guys prefer when I do like one subreddit in one video, or do you guys enjoy more something like this, where I just do like a bunch of subreddits in one video and I just read from different subreddits? Let me know. Okay,